Hey guys, it's Darcy Lacavere here reporting again from Pepcom Digital Experience. We're at the tailgate party here with the lovely people from Sony Mobile. So now we're going to take a closer look at the Sony Xperia ZL, which is essentially the same phone as the Sony Xperia Z, although it is not waterproof. You will notice it is a little bit smaller in terms of its form factor, making it a little bit more attractive for people that tend to use their device with one hand. But since I don't really know as much as the Sony marketing people, I'm going to pass it over to Isa.
Hi, how are you guys doing? So the Xperia ZL, because I am American, so I say Z. So the Xperia ZL is actually the second device that we announced here at CES. The Xperia ZL also is basically what we like to consider, again, the best of Sony in a smartphone. So it definitely is a premium device. And when we talk about the best of Sony in a smartphone, we'll kind of cover four elements that would embody, you know, the four pieces of technology, four pieces of Sony technology that you'll find in Xperia ZL. So we're actually going to first start off with the display element. So when we talk about the display, we're actually basically talking about the screen. So you'll notice here the screen is actually a 5-inch screen, and we like to consider the 5-inch screen the largest footprint of a 5-inch screen in your hand. So can I ask you a quick question? What phone do you carry? And if we can just kind of do a quick comparison.
Yeah, I carry the Galaxy Note 2.
So what's the screen size on that?
That's a 5.3-inch screen.
So, and this is a 5-inch screen. Let's have you put both of them in your hand.
Okay. All right, so I mean, I love a big display, but I can't do it, and that's even with some hand gymnastics. Let's try this one out. All right, so it's a lot more doable. So 5-inch really is kind of the perfect form factor for people that want to use the device with one hand, but still have a larger screen.
Exactly. And would you think that's a 5-inch screen in your hand?
Honestly, you guys really minimize the bezel. There's so much screen going on, and so little bezel, and so much less foam. It really is yeah, it's kind of obviously a little bit of trade-off. You lose 0.3 of an inch, but in terms of the screen size, yeah, it's not usable. The Galaxy Note 2 is not usable with one hand. Obviously, I love it, but this is a lot more usable with one hand.
Yep, so at least in terms of the display, definitely feels a lot more comfortable in terms of a 5-inch screen in your hand. So when we also talk about display, we also like to highlight that it is an HD display. But when we talk about HD, we're actually talking about full HD. So that's 1920 by 1080p. So everything in here, at least in terms of text that you see on websites and whatnot, very crisp and clear. And then as he's flipping through the screens, it's actually pretty fast, very fluid, because the device actually has a 1.5 gigahertz quad-core processor, Snapdragon S4 Pro. So you know it's really beefing up the specs here. So everything is fluid, and there's no dragging or delay.
Can I just interrupt for a quick second?
Sure.
To see the speed of the camera?
Go ahead.
I know obviously things slow down a little bit when the flash is on, so we'll just make sure that's off. Okay, so let's just go back to the home here. Okay, so just from the go, load up the camera, see how quickly we can take pictures. Okay, so pretty fast. A little bit of noise there, but nothing too bad. So it does appear to be faster than most of the phones on the market. And in terms of the thickness, is it comparable to the Sony Xperia Z?
It is not. It is slightly a little thicker, but not by much.
Not much. It's still under 10 millimeters. So. Okay.
Because you'll notice when we talk about the design aspects between Xperia Z and Xperia ZL, because it has a textured back, there's more of a slight curve on the back of the Z.
Honestly, even though it's not waterproof, and that's a big trade-off, I do kind of like the textured back. It's got a nice grip in the hand, you know?
Yes, exactly. Thank you. So actually we talked about the display already, and I kind of alluded to the design aspect as what we mentioned, at least in terms of the difference between Z and ZL. For ZL, it does have that textured back that you see. It does definitely feel natural in the palm of your hand. And also we kind of touch upon the camera aspect as well. So that's the third element that we like to focus on in terms of the best of Sony in a smartphone. So the camera, it takes pictures rather quickly, but also in terms of the camera itself, it's a 13 megapixel camera. It utilizes the Exmor RS image sensor. So in a way, it's an upgrade to the formal Exmor R sensor that we used to use in our other cameras. So with the Exmor RS sensor, it'll allow you to take HDR photos and videos. So it's a really cool element that we have for the image sensor on the device. But what we also like to focus on in the camera is for those who are familiar with CyberShot cameras, you'll notice the familiar icon right over here, which is basically the superior auto mode. So we took similar technology that you find in CyberShot cameras and embedded it, again, best of Sony in a smartphone, into the Xperia ZL. So what the Superior Automobile will do, it has built-in intelligence to identify the type of environment that you're in. I'm moving around, it knows, you know, the items are moving around, so it's a person there. There you go, it reads text, so it says documents, so it'll basically automize itself to figure out what document it is. If I was facing a person or if it's something really close, it had macro up there.
Yep.
If I had a person, it'll know it's a person, it'll self-portrait. So there are a combination of up to 36 modes actually that you'll find.
And they're all intelligent and auto-detecting?
Yes. So, and then the fourth element, so we did display, design, camera, is connectivity. So, you know, Sony, we're really focused on NFC capabilities. We call it one-touch connections. So the device here has an NFC sensor towards the back.
Of course, yes. Very good. So identical specs, expandable memory, 1080p, S4 Pro, 2 gigabytes of RAM, 13 megapixel, 5-inch display, but just not waterproof.
Just not waterproof.
Okay. And same rollout, going to be Q1 sometime?
Yes.
Sort of early February? And
yeah,
no
global
word yet
RTL, well, yep, Q1. Still, even this device, no word on market availability
No
or
word on
pricing.
price, same price points, everything?
That I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're asking tough questions here now.
You are asking
Sorry
tough
about
questions,
that.
yes.
You know, reading the comments and judging the marketplace as we do, a lot of people really love the way Sony designs phones. We're big fans of Sony's phones here at Android Authority, so we really look forward to collaborating, doing some reviews, hopefully some giveaways.
There we go. You'll actually notice the icons here. This one really embodies Sony DNA when you notice the Walkman, the album, the movies, PlayStation Mobile. So you'll actually see a lot of these elements that are integrated across other consumer electronic products like tablets and laptops. So just kind of a little piece in terms of how we really are becoming all a part of the Sony family.
Really trying to integrate the ecosystem.
Exactly.
Wonderful. Well, good luck with that.
No problem.
Don't forget to connect the charger there.
Apparently I've been doing a lot of demos. So.
Okay guys, so we'll have the wrap up there. This is first look at the Sony Xperia ZL. We're going to meet with Sony a little bit later and do some comparisons and have a little bit more of a closer through look. My name is Darcy Lacavay, reporting live here from Android Authority. Thank you very much for your time.
No problem, thanks.